Hey everyone, how is everyone doing on this Sunday? Sunday, April, what is it? 27th, 2026. In any case, how is everyone doing, huh? Uh, this fucking apartment. I mean, I beat this topic to death, all right? It's like a dead horse. But, the last thing I want to do with my wife is argue about this fucking apartment. Hold on a sec, okay? This is getting on our nerves, and I don't want that. So that's all. All right. And I'm sorry that just like, we're trying to sell it since January, no offers. And then, we also put it up for rent. And the saga or the soap opera keeps going on. It just goes on and on. Thanks to Port Liberty Condo 1 in the fucking special assessment, you know, because I blame myself, first of all, right, for buying this. And then the fucking what do you call the noise from the factory, and you can hear the street noise too, right? Although we are five floors above. So I feel like this has become like one of those like hanging swords hanging above my fucking neck. All right, but to the universe, I'm not putting my relationship behind this thing. Okay, I'm not saying that this is not important, but no. In any case, all right. So housekeeping. Sorry, Uh, And what else is going on? And we have a fucking another, like incident happen. My wife told me actually, we were home with our president, right? And then there's the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and everyone is talking about that today, and it's like, oh my fucking God, I don't want to talk about it. I don't talk about these things, politics and all that on my podcast, but I'm like, what is this? This is like the fucking third time a president. I don't fucking care what side of the aisle you are. Okay? This is not good. This is not fucking good. Oh my God. In any case, so let's just be positive, please. All right? Let's just be fucking positive. And, this was the last thing, like fucking apartment. In any case, all right? So we had a good time yesterday. Me and my wife went to see my sister and my brother-in-law, and And then we are back to, it seems like we are back to fucking, reality today, right? And I can't do that. Okay? That's it. I can't. Right? I can't take my fucking 5 minute anger out and then just like it becomes a fucking shit show. Right? That's all. We all got problems. I understand that. My problem may be a little bigger, but hey. So it's like These things y- don't directly affect us, but it's, I mean, just like it's a psychological thing. And I'm a fucking emotional person to begin with, right? A lot of anxiety and 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 then I was just reading something about like even drinking one cup of coffee. I know a friend of mine, he doesn't drink coffee. But I'm not trying to justify my fucking 5 minute anger, okay? But the the type of business we are in is always it's already sort of like fucking stressful. I mean, I'm not justifying that my job is more stressful than yours, all right? And so this is like kind of mantra or some sort of a prayer I had to say to myself, and I think, and I want to make this as sort of a ritual, all right? Because I want to come home and just relax. So please do not fuck your fucking day with your 5 minute anger at the end of the work day, all right? I'm gonna sound like fucking Bill Burr, but didn't you say anything about coffee? Didn't you say something about coffee? Not anything. That he started drinking coffee, he got angry and blah 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 and all that, right? I don't know, but I just got to like get to a mental level where I can't take the emotions take over my fucking brain for 3 minutes. You know, whatever happens, whatever the fuck happens, all right? And that's like my mantra, all right? That's it, you know. All right, so you said that, sir. What else is going on? So, this thing happens over the weekend, and what's going to come next? I mean, there is some sort of a fucking, you know, decency on. I understand a lot of like presidents were, back in the days, half of the fucking United States presidents were killed, right? Or something like that. I don't know. I mean, don't hold me to my statistics, all right? I'm just saying that this is fucking 21st century, all right? I mean, the politics has come to this fucking point, and it's fucking unbelievable, you know? And when violence, fucking violence, it's why? I mean, this is again, this is not like fucking 7th century fucking whatever. We are not living in fucking caves, all right? Or even like when Lincoln's time. Forget the fucking 7th century caves, all right? This is not fucking Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's time, all right? So I think people should have some fucking decency to say, oh no, there's no fucking room for violence, all right? So that's all. That's all my 2 cents to that point, all right? Is there anything positive? I was hoping the weather will be positive so we can this fucking coming weekend we can play some golf, right? My wife loves it. I like that's the sort of only my like, you know, excursion. Not excursion, but like sort of like my also, physical activity. Yeah, well, my sister says, "Oh, you got anxiety, so you should maybe do run like 5 minutes." Well, I could, but the problem is that I also have sciatica. You know, again, I understand that she says that for my own health and and all that. But then it just I'm a fucking my body just like I don't know. I don't want to say fall apart if it's falling apart or whatever, but it just I gotta be careful, you know. It's just like and then you look at the fucking temperatures, right? And it's like it's again fucking rain and you know same shit that this past weekend, right? That also makes you fucking depressed. And I've been saying this for the longest fucking time, you know. I think I'm done with Northeast, man. Sort of, you know. Except it's too fucking hot in summer, but then again, you know, I'm like that guy who wishes that he could just drive out to the west of fucking Pennsylvania, right? Comes Ohio, keep going, sir. Keep fucking going until you see the land, wide open land, and that's where you're gonna feel like, oh, maybe I should just start meditating here. Oh, she said something about meditation too, right? My sister. I mean, the older every day, the older you get, it becomes everything becomes exponential. Remember, expo fucking nential. All right. So, you know, it was like, why the fuck am I going into Manhattan? You know? And then my wife was trying to calm me down like yesterday, right? Going through the fucking tunnel, all that fucking traffic, right? I'm like, all right, okay. So then I had to calm myself, right? And she's calming me, and I had to say to myself, all right, you know what? You haven't seen your sister and your brother-in-law, so that's just whatever it is. And then you know you get into Manhattan, it's like all fuck people in their 20s and older people who can't get the fuck out of there. That's what I feel like, all right? And it's like a hole, you know? Manhattan is like a fucking hole. It's like a black hole. It just keeps sucking you in, all right? Don't get me wrong, that's also my bread and butter, all right? That's where my projects are, my clients are, and all that. But I'm sort of like done hanging out in Manhattan, all right? Unless absolutely necessary. So I I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want to make the same fucking argument. And again, you know, I'm going to sound like, you know, a wishful thinker who can't get out of his hole, which is true. I can't at this point in time. All right. Whatever, however bad it is, whatever it is, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm living in like fucking, you know, war-torn country, you know, with those fucking like, you know, shots firing everywhere. I'm not saying it. But the quality of life is what you feel is worse here, you know? Yeah, I'm better, you know, my life is better than many people, so I should be more grateful and all that, right? At the same time, yeah, maybe I'm not doing anything right now, but at least I can just tell myself, keep reminding myself, hey man, you know, maybe you should just take a fucking chill pill, some vacation, which we hope we do by the end of next month. We are planning to go somewhere like I really like nature, you know. out west somewhere, and and we all need that. Everybody needs that, and I think I mean, yeah, it's the traveling is not easy. It's not cheap, you know. But we got to like take a step back, right? Take a step fucking back and look at our life, from a fucking like bird's eye view, right? So if I'm a fucking bird up there and I'm looking at myself down here and I'm looking at my like in my own like whatever misery I'm talking about, right? What would that bird say? Okay, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Is he like not happy with his living? Yeah, the fucking apartment situation, right? Okay, so then get the fuck out of here, right? Yeah, I get it. I'm trying, right? And then moving out of here, right? New Jersey and like away. I can't do that. Am I fucking repeating myself? In any case, let's be positive, everyone. How is everyone doing? I get it. It's still cold. We still keep the heat on sometimes. At least we got fucking flowers. Flowers are gone, right? The blossoms are gone. Now we got the leaves on. So the life is back on up here, northeast. All right? You can see the fucking trees with leaves instead of barren like fucking tundra, right? So, and I have to like, you gotta chill pill, man. You gotta fucking chill pill. Life always has fucking problems. But then my OCD mind, just it keeps thinking about the same thing, you know, same fucking thing in that fucking loop, right? And I was going to actually talk about something positive, something like, because I've been listening to Terence McKenna a lot. He was like the guru who was sort of like telling us about, you know, this like other world, this other, not other world, like a parallel world we are in. And that's sort of like sort of what I actually want to do, honestly. If I didn't have to fucking like deal with like bills and like all this shit and money, I would just basically take fucking DMT, right? Then I would get in there and see what that whole experience is, right? And then I would come back from there and I would start giving fucking lectures. I think that's what I would do, you know? And I'm not saying that, yeah, I would still need to eat. I would still need to fucking, sleep and all that, right? But I've thought about that. And that's actually what do you call the butterfly? The butterfly, right? The butterfly is what our our self wants to become. Because right now we are that fucking, what is that? What's the before the butterfly? That thing. What's that thing called? Jesus fucking Christ. Right? That's what we are in our body. All right? We are not butterflies yet. I think eventually that's what we want. That's what our body wants. Our body wants to say, our inner self wants to say I mean, my wife is into this more. She understands this more than I do because I'm just in my own fucking like, insecurities and in my own fucking, day-to-day fucking bullshit. Okay, I'm not trying to like lecture people up, trying to preach, you know, some sort of a fucking, new path to some salvation. I'm not even talking. Forget all that. All right. What I'm saying is that, I wanted to actually talk about something positive, you know, and that the positive is is that, hey, by the way, so maybe it's a good news. All right. Maybe it's a good news that some of us who feel like, oh, we are like day to day, we are so like wrapped up in our fucking mind with our whatever work and then it just always on our mind and we are always like psychotic and, and anxious about, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow at work or this job or that job or this client or whatever the fuck with this bill, right? Some people are believers, and that actually helps them, you know. And I'm not a traditional, that sort of I don't know what I am, right? So I just want to basically have that sort of like the natural, my mind telling me, hey man, so by the way, did you just listen to what McKenna is saying? That you are just wrapped up in some like this worldly shit. All right, I'm not saying that, yeah, because we are humans with a body and this worldly shit we have to deal with, but then how about this other stuff? Do you know there's a good news? Maybe it is a good news, you know that you can find your own like path to some other, like fucking other realm. I'm not saying that you're going to get into like other realms and all that shit. All right. But maybe there are other like maybe this is not only what we are here to fucking experience and do. Maybe that's part of the reason why many of us are so like wrapped up and many of us are so anxious. Many of us are so fucking we can't sleep at night, you know, because our brain has been like for years and years. I mean, I've been a fucking lunatic, just to survive and just keep going. Whatever I did, I did. All right, but I didn't take the hard path. I should have taken the fucking hard path at some point in time. I should have said, "Hey man, just take a fucking break." Maybe you should just like look into yourself, whatever it takes, to see if there's something else that gives you some deeper satisfaction, deeper like peace, tranquility. You know that, oh, maybe this body is not the only one, or it's not the only thing you are, you know and if you ask a Western reductionist, typical, like an agnostic person or somebody say, oh yeah, yeah, this is what we are, man. I mean, what are you talking about? Maybe not, you know so I had to keep my fucking mind open, with an open mind, and experience this fucking life, you know And I'm not saying that I'm going to be a psychonaut and, like follow Terence McKenna's path and, and eventually, what, didn't you just say that? Maybe that's what you want to do? That you want to find like, I don't know. Western mysticism, whatever, hermetism, whatever the fuck it is, dude. Maybe that's why we're not satisfied because our like inner selves are screaming at us, through these fucking thoughts, you know. But man, you're just like you're wrapped up. You are just so much indulged. You have indulged yourself so much into this like three-dimensional space, and then getting angry at people, and then just like, not, well, what is that going to do? You know? So, I mean, because yes, I mean, sleep has been a problem for me, and I've been trying to take some sleeping aids and all that. But you also have to be careful with all those, and you have to, at some point in time, like, I have to just let like sleep come to me naturally. And And again, I think it's at least part of the problem is just like this inner dissatisfaction, inner, you know, with I mean, yeah, I got financial issues and this and that I mean, without fucking repeating myself, right? But then who doesn't, and I'm not trying to like resolve those issues with with trying to like run away from those by, taking fucking DMT and as that thing is also not for everyone. Then you just detach yourself, because if I get into something like that, I'm just going to detach myself from the whole fucking world. And then I'm going to say all I need is just like a basic place to live. Maybe just become part of some sort of a fucking new age fucking whatever, some sort of a church or monastery, right? Where you truly find you try to find the the meaning, and see what your butterfly effect, what is that butterfly that you're going to become, all right, before you die. I think that's what it is. I think that's the ultimate you know satisfaction, or some people call it the oneness with the universe, or whatever it is, right? And 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 again, I'm not preaching to any choir. I think I'm just telling myself that just like inner sort of like the forever dissatisfaction. I think that's with us from the day life was born on this fucking planet. All right. And that I mean, here we are. Here we are, sort of like at the tail end of a higher fucking, you know, uh, a, 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 a higher primate, the highest primate as we are. All right. Because of our brain, our thinking, and all this, you know, and here we are. Where are we going from here? You know, I think that's the ultimate. I don't think it's AI and all that shit, but somehow that, whatever you call it, dissatisfaction, or that like curiosity, you know, and that is what actually sort of, you know, uh, gives us this anxiety. I think ultimate anxiety to all of us. All right, and then rest of it's obviously chemicals in our fucking brain, our chemistry, electrochemical, whatever, you know, some of our brains, some of our, like even metabolism, the way our whatever our bodies digest, well, the whole fucking 9 yards, right? Some of us are different. So all those things, but eventually our brain's computer, it's always somehow it's trying to connect at a higher, some sort of a whatever plane, higher plane of this universe, and that's I think that's the ultimate dissatisfaction. All right, you can call it whatever, you can call it the our mind or whatever God or the whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a religious person, but uh like the 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 connection, our connection, because yes, we are physical beings, but this physical is somehow it's actually result of some sort of a non-physical phenomenon, all right, within the fabric of this space, and and let's say there's something in dark matter, whatever the fuck it is, all right, manifestation of the matter, all right, is through some other non like material sort of force or whatever it is, all right. So that's it. That's my 2 cents. I hope I just I'm sorry. Just like I always like start with something negative. I hope I ended up on this podcast saying something positive, at least to myself, that hey, maybe, just take a fucking chill pill, okay? And 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 the let and the last thing I would say, let the universe discover you. All right? That's the other thing. All right? It shouldn't be the other way around. Let the universe discover you. All right? Uh, yeah, some people, I don't know. All right, that's it. That's it. Again, I assume you all are having a great week, start of the week. I'll see you all next week. What?